in what might be the perfect introduction to a video about a televised video game Bloodsport. This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. For those of you who haven't seen our previous 47 Surfshark ads, Surfshark VPN simply allows users to virtually appear anywhere in the world with the push of a button. This means you could be sitting in the middle of Farmington, Delaware, somewhere I swear I didn't make up, while virtually appearing as if you're browsing from New Zealand, a country whose existence is also in question. The most obvious benefit to being able to digitally teleport is to get around region-locked content and watch whatever you want without restriction. However, another huge benefit for Surfshark is its ability to shield you from ads, trackers, and malware, meaning the days of downloading free robux.exe and giving your PC cyberchlamydia are now a thing of the past. To make the deal even sweeter, Surfshark is giving away an extra 3 months for free when you use the code on screen or just click on the link below. If that's still too hard, then here's a fucking QR code which will apply the deal on our behalf, a small gift to say we care. To make it even more tempting, if you're not satisfied with Surfshark for any reason in the world, you can back out within the first 30 days and you'll get a full refund right there on the spot. Surfshark VPN, it's cheaper than the other ones. Welcome to the finals. A battlefield game pretending to be a battle royale, pretending to be an arena shooter. It might be easy to look at this game and make plenty of assumptions on the best way to play, but it's these very assumptions that we are going to be looking to abuse. New players assume that walls and floors are permanent fixtures, as opposed to temporary obstacles, and while they're using stairs and doors like a chump, you'll be beelining it to wherever you want, before they can even catch on to what you're doing. While the other team think they're safe behind a thick cloud of gas, you'll just shoot for the one thing they can't hide, their health bar. There are so many ways that you can just completely disrupt an enemy's fundamental understanding of the game, and this will almost always result in an immediate advantage. One of the most fundamental assumptions for economists is to assume that all people are rational, but put them in a stressful enough situation, and all the textbooks in the world can't prepare them for the stupid shit players in this game are likely to do. The most important lesson for yourself is if an enemy player gives you a giant box full of money, you don't question their intentions. You simply say thank you and run the fuck away. Sticking with the more academic theme, economists also state that only 3 things are assured in life, which is death, taxes, and your random teammates being absolute sand-eaters. There isn't a combination of words in the English language to properly articulate the lack of or relevant skills held by your teammates, and this could truly be a topic of study for those looking to score themselves a PhD. For some reason beyond our understanding, the developers have managed to create a game which brought together some of the dumbest window-licking motherfuckers and expected them to form any semblance of team cohesion. You'll see these guys confidently jump to their death more times than you can count, and all you can do is stand in awe that they were able to muster the mental capacity it must have taken to find the on button for their PC. On the flip side, these guys have Mozart levels of creativity when it comes to finding new and exciting ways to disappoint you as a teammate. They'll make you wade through hell and back to revive them and pick the very last second before they choose to hit that respawn button. They'll flash you more times in one game than a beatmaker during the New Orleans Mardi Gras. They'll get taken out by an enemy you've already buttered up to 10 health, and they'll probably leave you on your own if they see something shiny in their peripheral vision. The earth truly is in trouble because there isn't enough sand in the Arabian desert to feed these sand-eating window lickers. These players truly are impossible to underestimate. With this in mind, it's often hard to differentiate players who have room temperature IQ from the poor souls who are just trying to complete their weekly challenges. Whenever you feel stupid, just know that there's someone on the development team who thought it would be a good idea to make arena carryable damage a critical metric for progression. In a single master stroke, this sadistic motherfucker made the player progression infinitely faster by literally throwing flowers at your enemy as opposed to actually winning the game. The natural expansion of the universe is simply to accommodate their enormous brain. The truth is that the finals is pretty damn straightforward, which is why they only included 3 basic classes: the light, medium, and heavy. Let's start with the light. In general, if you see your team stacked with these guys from the opening screen, you should probably accept that you're not going to be winning this game, and no amount of John Wick levels of clutching are going to change this. These guys have the least amount of health, the lowest level of team synergy, and tragically the most fun weapons and gadgets. There's a reason why they are by far the most picked class for newer players, and by far the least picked for the absolute hermits among us. These guys really do have the greatest hits of any good shooter, and even when you're getting absolutely clowned on and spending 80% of the match in spectator mode, the dopamine injection from that perfect headshot makes it all worthwhile. A big downfall of the light class is that although you get some of the most fun and arguably strongest weapons on offer, you effectively need to be doing double the damage of your enemy just to kill them before they kill you. Not only this, but many of your weapons are designed to thrive under a very specific set of circumstances. Having a sniper to lock down a point from afar can make you a god among men, as outside of a select few gadgets, there is often very little recourse that other players can use against your sheer range advantage. Be forced into a tight space however, and you either need to have the reaction speed of a cat with a near lethal dose of Adderall, or your enemy needs to be an aforementioned aficionado of the finest sands of the Nubian desert. The same is inversely true for light's melee options, as you'll want to be as close to your enemy as possible if you're to cosplay as the average British man from Brixton. The basic premise is still pretty much the same, and you'll be able to win most of your engagements by following 3 simple tenets. Number 1 is to always strike first. Even against a heavy player, a good thrust from a sword can still 3-shot them from full health, and unless they can burn you down over the next 3 seconds, they'd better get used to watching the spectator screen for the next 30. The second is to focus on enemies who are distracted. In the finals, taking honorable fights is a good way to get yourself an easy L, and melee weapons can absolutely dump damage if the player wielding them is left uncontested. Much like another game once published by Nexon, sometimes you just have to play dirty. God, I fucking miss that game. The third tenet to live by is to never take a fight you can't win. As we'll reiterate constantly, kills really mean fuck all in this game, and unless you're taking a winnable fight for a damn good reason, it might just be better to group up with your team and overwhelm the enemy with a very basic numbers advantage. On the opposite end of the scales are heavy players, and much like how the light class doesn't really care about winning, heavy players don't really care about light players. These guys will really just shoot a rocket point blank into their own feet to get rid of the pesky light player, because fighting them any other way really isn't worth their time. To add insult to injury, heavy players are even more mobile than the lights they so easily wipe. While other classes are forced to parkour around the map, heavy players can simply point in the direction of their objective, and no number of puny buildings and concrete structures are able to slow them down. Pair this with a sledgehammer, and heavies really are able to just skip the whole navigation part of the game. With this in mind, some heavy players may feel sympathy for their light counterparts, which seems to be why the developers gave them a flamethrower, in what might be the clearest example of why this game needs to let the player equip more than one weapon. The flamethrower is more of a tool than an icon of death. This shit has melee level range and flower pot levels of damage, and you have to wonder why on earth something like this couldn't have just been a gadget. Its only real advantage is being able to cleave through entire teams that let you get away with their own murder, but even then, this only happens when they forget they can simply move backwards. The absolute best use of the flamethrower is to counter any and all forms of gas, as without a source of fire, your body will end up more toxic than my ex-wife. Unironically, the best thing heavy players are able to use is the mesh shield, and nothing else even comes close. All of a sudden, you become Reinhardt with access to an entire arsenal of Geneva suggestion-ass weapons, and the single most intimidating player in the match. You can literally just stand in front of your teammates as they happily shoot anyone who dares to come close, and they can do so with the knowledge that they are effectively immortal for as long as you hold it up. While lights and mediums are fearing RPGs and other extreme damage weapons, you can block these with the simple press of a button and just say no to anything the enemy might throw your way. The best part of this barrier, however, is that you can simply have a teammate walk up to a cash out in the middle of a raging fight, while you watch as enemy players desperately try to burn through your shield before you score yourself an easy win. This isn't even something that only works sometimes or under a very specific set of circumstances. So many people seem to think that holding up a shield is stupid or not worth their time, that they are genuinely baffled when the team with the lowest amount of kills absolutely sweeps them with minimal effort. Kills really don't mean anything in the finals, and the almighty shield is the ultimate symbol for those who steal wins for free. It's not even as if this shit is overpowered, as the light class literally gets an entire gadget that can turn off anything in the entire game. But good luck telling a light main not to run the stun gun for a single fucking round. If they do figure this out, however, don't be afraid to simply use the deployable shield, as while they're forced to burn down a heavy sized health pool with a head sized hitbox, you can freely mow them down, knowing they need to have downloaded aimhacks.exe to even have a shot. As much as this shit might seem greatly overpowered, it should be noted that every class still gets access to the simple frag grenade, which in itself is fucking nuts. For whatever fucking reason, this shit might as well be a heat-seeking missile, because no matter where you throw this shit, players are likely to walk from fucking Middle Earth, or to congregate on wherever the fuck these avocados of death land. Just equip this shit, throw it in a random direction, and enjoy the easiest kills of your finals career. One more absolutely slept on ability from Heavy is a goo gun. A very silly weapon with infinite possibilities. This shit can block off entire rooms that you're trying to defend, meaning enemy players will either need to have fire in their back pockets or have a way to produce some serious kinetic force. Much like a gas mine, goo is perfect for delaying an enemy getting to a cash out station, because when it takes so long to get through this shit, no one is going to take the time mid-fight to start breaking it. The goo gun can even be used as a makeshift movement solution when you're out of other options, meaning regardless of the composition, map, and skill level of your team, a goo gun will always be useful in the hands of a creative player. The finals isn't supposed to be played fairly, so if other teams have nothing to stop a glorified cape decorating apparatus, their loss is entirely on themselves. The last, and certainly not least class, is medium, which certainly lives up to the name. Unlike the light build, there isn't really a single situation where your team won't be happy to have you around, because you can really do pretty much anything. All of your weapons are extremely consistent, most of your gadgets can swing fights by themselves, and your specializations are some of the strongest in the game. From the very first match, medium players get access to the healing beam and the defibrillators, which would both appear in the dictionary as the very definition of S tier. With the healing beam especially, it doesn't matter whether a cash out is covered in gas, on fire, or swarming with enemy players, because if you can effectively make a teammate have 700 health, enemies can't do much to stop you anyway. You can simply laugh at them as they try burning down your enormous bullet sponge of a Heavy. Medium builds are also the absolute reigning champions of just locking down an objective and making it unfathomably painful to try and attack. Medium builds can throw down more mines than the nation of Afghanistan, a sentry turret with more health than their light teammate, and can give themselves wall hacks on a fucking cooldown. Sonar grenades might be the most slept on shit in the entire game, as not only can they not be countered, and not only do they show you the real-time locations of any opposing teams, but they come back quick enough to have this ability nearly constantly. The alternative to this are of course the tracking darts, which although require a skill shot, will more or less mark a player for death. Tracking darts might not be worth the investment in most cases throughout the map, but once hit, that player might as well be playing without hands on a Samsung smart fridge. Without a doubt, one of the best ways to win any encounter in the finals is to throw the enemy an unexpected skill check, and there's no skill check quite more intimidating than the almighty riot shield. Trying to beat a riot shield player is so difficult because they can't be shot, ignored, or baited into a range where they can't still win. As a riot shield player, you are always a threat. If they are looking at you, they are not looking at your teammates, and if they are looking at your teammates, they're already being beaten with a stick. When using a riot shield, all you have to know is that winning is a certainty, because while you have all the time in the world, you only have to wait for your enemy to make a mistake. Eventually, enemy players will need to either reload, split their attention, or be stupid enough to come within bonking range, and in all three of these circumstances, you come out on top. It doesn't even matter if they're halfway across the map, because no matter how many rounds they fire your way, you really don't have to care about their pitiful attempts to take you down. In an objective-based game, eventually the enemy will be forced exactly where you want them, meaning by being patient, you only have to take fights you know you're going to win. The only real way to beat a riot shield enjoyer is to gang up on them with multiple players at once, but considering the previously mentioned sand-eating enthusiasts, most of the time you'll be free to 1v1 an entire team to victory. This concludes today's video on how to win in the finals, by demonstrating that no matter how advanced their setup, most players are still held back by a basic monkey brain. If this video helped you bully light players, or you want to see more guides on the finals, feel free to let me know down below. But until next time, have fun, and embrace the bullshit.